Yeah, I'm about to fade away. Step time, I wake up, I feel like Monday. Something's going wrong, thought and goes in my brain. All sudden, I look at it and think the same way. Gotta build up my thoughts, sit it in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of the way. I see the way you look at me, such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into the place. You wanna love me, well baby, I got to taste all the highs and lows. No, you never be the same. I really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you can by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be changed. I need it today. I promise that I'll never felt this way. I really hope you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. Tell me what's wrong. Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and make a smile until I look away. But I don't do long. It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. I know you told your friend you're not okay. Tell me what's wrong. Why you never said you felt that way? I guess you're trying to stay strong and make a smile until I look away. But I don't do long. It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. I know you told your friend you're not okay. Tell me what's wrong. Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and make a smile until I look away. But I don't do long. It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray.
Host plays. Host plays. Host plays. 365 making up talking game to the day. I call the dynamic top off the station, what's the nation? And we're taking in
Welcome, Jags Nation. Hold on us. Testing 1, 2. Okay. I just want to make sure my mic is working here. Welcome, Jag Nation. This is Ray Cruz. I am your host for the next hour and a half, maybe. We're going to bring you the Jacksonville Jaguars perspective of the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was on Red Kingdom earlier today on the All Sports All Plays Network. We broke down the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars for the Kansas City fans. And now I am here breaking it down. I know I've been gone for the duration of the preseason and the first week of games. We're back here on Jags Nation. Come and join us every Saturday from around 9:30 till 11 o'clock time frame. And on Sundays when we do the after action of the Jacksonville Jaguars at 9:30 p.m. all the way up to 11 p.m. on Sunday. So we have the reaction show, we have the pregame show tonight, and then we have the reaction show tomorrow. So Jag Nation is back fully going. We've got football season going on. It's going to be a great season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get to it here. Let's talk about a little bit of stuff that we've seen in our first week of football for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've seen the defense play pretty sporadic. We've seen them play dominant football. We've seen them play giving up big plays here and there. Against the Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson provided some sparks for the Colts, and the defense for the Colts was outstanding. And it was a hard-fought game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, pulling it away at the end for the way they did. Trevor Lawrence was outstanding. So was Calvin Ridley. We got to talk about Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk was only one catch of 9 yards in that ball game. So we got to see if he can get going this week. Because you know the Kansas City Chiefs is going to roll that coverage over to Wrigley, so it won't be that part of that fast-paced, periodic things that we're talking about here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got to see what's going on here. So the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be a different animal. It's going to be we're going to see where the Jacksonville Jaguar falls right now in line with the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen them play the playoff game last year. They got it now, got a regular season. We know Kelsey will be back. We don't know how many snaps he's going to play, how healthy he really is. 10 days ago, that first week of the football game for the Kansas City Chiefs, they said he couldn't hardly walk. And then 10 days, and all of a sudden he's now going to play. So we're going to see how fast he is, and it's going to see if they're going to use him as a decoy with Kansas City Chiefs. Red Kingdom people are talking about using him as a decoy earlier today that we were discussing this. I think Kelsey could play probably a minimum, probably about 15 to 20 snaps, maybe. Some people say he could probably play the whole game. But we're going to see how effective he really is, because that's Mahomes' safety value of that of the tight end. And without him, we've seen the offense kind of sputter, because the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers are dropping footballs, and especially Tony. If he drops more footballs again, that could help the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, the way that our defense is played, the front seven is going to be our strongest point of this ball game. They have to keep Mahomes in that pocket. Can't let him play backyard football with you when he gets out of that pocket where he can scramble, and our defensive backs got to hold up their coverage for a while. So that's got to be a little bit of a concern for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the way that our corners are playing so far deep off their wide receivers. I know you got to respect their speed, but you also got to get up in their face too. You got to provide that ammunition, that technician of a great defensive vertigo there. We got to get that defense, something set up like that. So that's got to be another little thing that you're really looking for the Jacksonville Jaguars. how will our defense play and how our corners play a little bit better than they did last week. That's got to be a decision, really a capability of this football team. We have to get our corners better. Campbell played outstanding. He had 2 picks in the defensive secondary, but he's the only one that is really, I think he's the only one that could be a shutdown corner for us. So we got to get that. We got to get that defense stringing out here a little bit more. On the offensive end, we got to get Kirsten Kirk a little bit more involved in that offensive scheme, and we got to get around routed because State Jones had a great second half of against the Indianapolis Colts, and they took Wrigley away in that second half. State Jones stepped up in that game. Even Ingram stepped up in that game. That's going to be a thing too for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can Evan Ingram be that X factor? Can he run the tight seam routes? Can he run that seam that someday Kelsey could do? Can we have Evan Ingram do the same thing? Can he be that mismatch for us? Be a safety valve. Usually your tight end is your safety valve on the offense when you get pressure on them. And Kansas City's Chris Jones, he's back. So we got to put up with him now. We don't know how many snaps he's going to play. I told earlier today that he could play a lot of snaps for him. He had 15 and a half sacks last year, but we don't know how good shape he is because he missed the whole entire preseason, and then he missed that first week of football game. So you got to get game action. So hopefully he's not going to be at his top echelon right now to get the Jacksonville Jaguars what they really need here in this ball game. So we got a little bit of situation that we got to look at here. We're going to break down a little bit more as the show moves on here tonight. Tell you the keys of the game that I think of for the Jacksonville Jaguars going to have a chance to win this football game. What kind of keys are the defense got to prevent, and what are the keys that we got to really keep our eyes on and really look at the Jacksonville Jaguars and as a whole. That'd be great on special teams because Tony is going to be that kickoff returner and punt returner. He's fast and speed, but his hands are lacking on the wide receiver right now. He dropped 4 passes last week for the Kansas City Chiefs. So you got to really talk about that situation right now. Where is the wide receiving core for the Kansas City Chiefs? We hope they don't find it here in Jacksonville. Hopefully it'll come later on. But then again, you got to play Mahomes. You got to play him tight. You got to get pressure on him. You got to keep him inside that pocket. You do not want him to break out of that pocket in that containment area where he can either run or create plays for the wide receivers. And hopefully Kelsey's back gives him a little bit more confidence maybe, and maybe gives the wide receivers the confidence of catching footballs. And now we got to put up that issue here. How do we cover Travis Kelsey? How do we cover him? How do we double team him and force the wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs to beat us? How can we get our front 7 up? Can we get Wells up there? Can we get Josh Allen in there? We got to get that attacking front 7. It's got to be attacking. It's got to attack. It's got to keep our linebackers clean so they can make the cleans on the runs. We don't know how good Kansas City really can run the football. I know they got 2 good running backs capable of carrying the load for them a little bit here in this ball game. But we got to put our run defense in there, and we got to stuff that run. And then we got to put Mahomes in some pressure situation and kind of force his hands throwing the football down when he doesn't want to throw the football. And hopefully we can get some turnovers here. That's going to be the key of the situation, that we can keep Mahomes at bay. So Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. He can throw the ball sidearms. He can throw it at 3/4 arms. He can move around in the backfield, get his wide receivers open. So you got our defensive backs have to play football, and they're gonna have to play that football like they really need to, because Patrick Mahomes gets out there and breaks out containment, and then he's running around trying to look and see if he can get some wide open people down the field. I mean, the secondary could break down. That's got to be a key that we got to look at these situations here. I talked earlier today with Greg and the Red Kingdom guys. this game is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a blow. It's not going to be a blowout. I don't. I think, to my heart, I think it's going to come down to possibly a field goal game. Who's going to have the ball last? Maybe that could come down to play too. I think we have improved since last year. Looking at that first game, it tells a little bit of tell because it was the first game we rocking some rust off. Getting our continuity here. But I mean, really had a great game in the first half. Football. And then Say Jones picked it up in the second half. So did Evan Ingram. So I mean, you got to look at these situations here. Can we play a complete football game? Can we have Travis Etienne? Can we have really have Travis Etienne and carry that load a little bit here in this game? We got to keep that running. We got to keep our running attack to where they have to honor that. And then the play action pass, and Trevor Lawrence got to keep the turnovers to a minimum. And then we got offensive line. That's some little bit of issues here last week. I think Trevor Lawrence got sacked about 2 to 3 times against Kansas City Chiefs pass rush, or he got hurry up plenty of times. So I mean, that's got to be a situation that we got to look at here. That situation with the Jaguars offensive line, and that's one of my keys from this afternoon when I was talking to the guys. Our key here is got to be really on detailed. We got to keep Chris Jones out of there. We got to keep the front 7 out of our backfield. We got to our line of scrimmage got to start. We got to take the line of scrimmage and move it forward, not back. Don't let them reset that line of scrimmage in the backfield. We need to take that line of scrimmage and move it forward. We need to get at least 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3. Keep it in that short yardage distance and then be ahead of the change. Once we get behind the change, that's gonna take Kansas City and Chris Jones and set that pass rush in motion. So we got to keep it in short. We got to keep the penalties down to a minimum. We had some drives last week that really hurt us because of penalties. We had a little bit of holding call, a little bit of false start. We had a little bit of everything. So we got to really look at this situation here. How can we get this in? How can we get Travis Etienne? How can we do a lot of things that we really need to? That's got to be a thing that we really have to look at here in this situation. That situation here, that play here for Mahomes and the way he can innovate, way he can elevate his offense. Travis Kelce is going to be a mismatch. He's always going to be a mismatch. It's got something really we got to look at here in this very unique situation that we're going to be put in here. I mean, it's a lot of things that we got really look. Situation here. So that means Okay. Now, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay. All right. I guess you can hear me now. So that's got to be a little bit of situation that we got to really take care of. Uh, so that's something we got to really take care of here in these situations. So I mean, that's something that we really got to look into and really drive into that play here. So let me see here, get my stuff back here, get my stuff back here together. Lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. Just trying to get my stuff back up and running so I can make sure I'm on the screen. So if you can hear me, Greg said I can hear you good. So we got everything straight back up here. We got everything looking great for us. Got to really take this stride that we are on, and really look at the situation that we got to see here in this Kansas City Chiefs. And Kelsey, how they going to use them, how they going to evolve around them, and how they going to set right now. If you look at the matchup predicted from ESPN, at 61.3% is in favor of Kansas City, giving Jaguars 38.4% the chance to win this game. So that's got to be a discomfort right there. We know we're going to come in here, Super Bowl champions coming into our place. What a great way to make a statement here. Make a statement. Take care of the defending champions. Go 2-0. You know, we took care of Indianapolis Colts. We got to take care of our schedule. We got to take care of our home field. And that's the key in the NFL. You got to take care of your home field. You can't let a visiting team come in here and beat you in your home field. That's got to be the situation that we got to look at here. And Trevor Lawrence has got to keep it in mind. If he gets pressure, you can't force the ball down the field all the time. You're either going to give up or you're going to get outside the pocket and throw the ball away. You know, sometimes you got to live to play the next day, next down. You know, you got to keep it. We got to keep the field position. You got to keep Patrick Mahomes in the back area of their side of the field, not coming on our side of the field. It's gonna be hard to said and done because I think this is going to be probably going to end up being a shootout. I don't think both defenses going to be able to stop each other. I think we're going to be scoring in will. Both teams will be. You know, earlier today I said it was going to be 34-31, Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, Red King guy said, Greg said it was going to be 31-27 or 30-24. He said about 7 points. And then his cohort partner, it said it was going to be a little bit closer than what Greg had it. So I think this is going to be a way that we have to judge our team here. How good can we be? We can be great. We could be a team that is on the rise. This is not going to be the same. You know, most people had this in the statue here saying, "Oh, this is the old same old Jacksonville Jaguars back in the day." But now, you know, Doug Peterson has come in, has changed a little bit of the culture around. We have gone from a laughingstock team to now a team that most teams got to take seriously. If you don't take us seriously, you know, we could come back and bite them and take this game right away from them. So that's something that we got to really intensify and really good. Greg said it was 31-24. I knew it was about 7 or 6 that you had it, man. But anyway, so that's got to be a little bit of a thing. And I understand Greg, you know, he's saying there's going to be 31-24, you know, Chiefs. But hey, look, it's all fun and games. But, you know, we can sit here and look good on paper. But, you know, we got to go out in that field. You got to play between the yard lines. Yes, Greg, this is a measuring stick for the Jags. You are exactly right. I mentioned that earlier today. I said this is going to be a measuring. How good can Jacksonville Jaguars be? Can we put the defending champions? Can we do like what Detroit did? I understand Detroit didn't have to play against Travis Kelce, but then again, it was the first game of the season. But they pretty much kept them in check a little bit, and they pulled the game out at the end. Now we got to watch Jawan Taylor too. Greg earlier, you know, we know about Jawan Taylor. We know he likes to line up in odd-looking situations. If you look back at some of that game, he lined back up in the backfield. Really,
half the time. I mean, he wasn't even on the line of scrimmage, so I don't know how he can pull that off a little bit, not getting flagged as many times as he did in that situation. But you know, Doug Peterson's going to look at it, and he's going to keep them referees in honest checks here in Jacksonville. But then again, sometimes when referees come to Jacksonville, sometimes the visiting teams gets the home cooking. But we got to move on. We got to play. We can't let the official play the game. We have to play the game the way we need to play. We got to play disciplined football. We got to make sure minimize the turnovers. We got to make sure all that is in check. Doesn't matter if we got Trevor Kelsey. We got to we practice if he's playing, as he's playing. Chris Jones, we got to make sure we protect that inside. Make sure we protect him. Make sure we can get him in the backfield. Make sure that we can keep our center back and chip him until we get a tackle on him. So, I mean, they're going to have a hands full here on the Jacksonville offensive line. So, Sheriff got hurt, came back in the game. We don't know exactly what his tail is going to be, but we're going to go down to here and look at the injury report here for both teams coming up in this ball game. So, I mean, that's going to be a tale of the tapes here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do we look at this, the injuries and stuff like that? How do we? Let me see if I can find the injury list here for both teams. Let me see. Um, I mean, let's look at a couple things here. My notes there on the side. Let's take a look here. Last meeting, Kansas City Chiefs beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-20 on January 21st, 2023 in Kansas City. That was a playoff game. Last week, the Chiefs lost to the Lions 21-20. Jaguars beats the Colts 31-21. That was a game all the way up to that fourth quarter when we got the pressure on them and started turning that game around to our side for the win. The Chiefs' offense is ranked number 12 overall. Rushing, they're 21st. Passing, they're number 9. Total scoring is number 22 in the NFL right now after 2 weeks. The Chiefs' defense overall is 26. Rush is 4. Pass is 22. And they're tied for 14 in scoring. But they didn't have Chris Jones. So that number's going to be a little bit screwed. And same thing with the offensive side for the Kansas City because without Travis Kelsey. That's going to be a little bit of things too. So you got to realize that they didn't have Trevor Kelsey the first week. I'm sorry, the first week here. This is through week 1. Jacksonville offense overall is ranked number 10. They're number 12 in the rush. Tied number 7, and they're the 5th scoring offense after week 1. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is 15 overall, 4 against the rush, 22 against the pass. That's going to be the thing. They're tied number 19 in scoring. Chiefs are even in turnover differential. Jaguars are -1, plus -1 on the turnover situation. They got the list of the key players. We know Kevin Ridley is going to be for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chris Jones is going to be one they watch for the defensive tackle area for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs tight end injury. Travis Kelsey missed the opener after hyperextending his knee in practice 2 days before kickoff, but he is expected to play in Jacksonville. We kind of knew that. The Jaguars could be without 2 starting offensive line veterans, right guard Brandon Sheriff, ankle and second-year center Luke Forner. Ankle missed practice Wednesday, with Coach Doug Peterson saying Forner is closer to being able to return. So that's going to be a key there. We're going to probably have 2 offensive linemen that's going to be out. Brandon Sheriff got hurt last week, came back and finished the game off, but his ankle, we don't know how good that is going to be up front here. Time will tell when game situation comes up, when the injury list is put out about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the 1 o'clock games. That's when the injury report is officially need to be turned in, and that's when they start announcing the injuries for both teams. Jacksonville game notes here. 4-3 against the Chiefs in Jacksonville. Jacksonville most recent win against Kansas City came on November 8th, 2009. The previous 2 times the teams met in a home opener for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Chiefs knocked out Jacksonville starting quarterback Nick Foles, broke his collarbone in 2019, and Blaine Gabbert in 2013. So that's a little bit of a tidbit. We got to keep the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence against the Chiefs defense. Um, see here, see a little bit more here. A little fantasy tidbits here for Tony and Jacksonville Jaguars. Christian Kirk is to have much better showing in week 2 than he did in their opener. Tony combined for 140 yards and a touchdown in the 2 head-to-head games last season, while Kirk total 175 yards and 3 scores. Excuse me. So that's another thing there too. And let's go to the chat here. Let's look at Greg here. Forget to mention earlier the Chiefs secondary has played well, including Trent McDuffie and Landry Sneed. Yes, I agree with that to a certain point too. But then again, can't Detroit's wide receivers got that one guy, St. Pierre Brown, and they got Marvin Jones that came back out of Jacksonville back to Detroit. So they, to me, I want to see him against Wrigley, and I want to see him against Christian Kirk when Christian Kirk is really clicking. And then Say Jones, who's now come up and started picking up. And then I want to see the defense against our tight end, Evan Ingram, who could be a mismatch too, could go out and play wide receiver. He's also a good blocker tight end. He's an all-around tight end. So that's going to be a thing too for Kansas City. Can they really adjust when they're going to send him out, when they're going to put him in a blocking situation? We don't. That's the thing that you got to really keep your eyes on. And if he lines up on a linebacker, that's a mismatch that's going to be a mismatch for us, an advantage for us if we can keep him on a linebacker and get that mismatch and hopefully hit him often and throughout the whole game and try to get him into the scoring column this season. So that's another little tidbit here, Greg. We talked earlier about this, and we talked about the whole segment, the whole show. This game could be a barrage. This game could be a really, really telling. This team could play each other again in the playoffs. Time will tell. We don't know if we got to bar the injuries from both teams. We got to bar the injuries from because right now our offensive line is being hit hard. With Sheriff injured, Fortner hasn't come back yet. Cam Robinson, he's out for 5 more games. We won't get him back until I think either week 6 or week 7. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a situation here. So that's got to be a little bit of a screwed stuff. That's got to be that's got to be a key situation that we got to really look into here. We got to dive in a little bit more about how we can use Ingram. We haven't used him to a full potential yet. Last year he had a good season. Last year he was healthy most of the season, and more than in his past in his career. I think we got him a steal last year, but then we got him re-signed up this year. He played great in Indianapolis. He's got to throw a mismatch. So we got to get that mismatch on the Kansas City Chiefs linebackers or keep him in there on the safety. And if he goes up against safety, that's going to be really, really a key thing up for that. That's got to be a situation that really got to play up to that situation on this game here. So that's another little tidbit there on this game that we got to really look at here as we coming up on this game here. So I mean, it's really a little bit of a situation that we got to go in here and look as we get ready for this game. What other kind of things that we really got to look at here in the realm of things here is, Mahomes in week 1 was 21 out of 39, 226 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. On that, Trevor Lawrence matched 24 out of 32, 241 yards. Also had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception against the Colts. Mahomes has 6 carries for 45 yards. Rushing, Travis Etienne's 18 carries, 77 yards, and 1 touchdown. Valdez Scranton, 2 receptions, 48 yards. Calvin Ridley had a great game, 8 receptions, 101 yards, and 1 touchdown on the same. So the Kansas City injury questionable is Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. He's questionable. Travis Kelce is questionable. They say he's going to play, but You can put him on there questionable right now. This is the injury thing for Leonard Taylor, the reserve sub. Um, Brandon Sheriff, he's questionable. Luke Fortner is questionable. Antonio Johnson, the safety, is out. And Gregory Jr., the cornerback, is on IR for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's the full injury report there. Let's go see if we got any more injuries here on these two teams here. I think that's all the injuries that we can see. I'm going through the injury list right now of all teams here in the NFL. Um, here we go. We got some more people here on the injured play here. Let me see here. Tyler Lancey, the defensive end, he's questionable. Cooper Hodge is on the injury reserve. Devon Hamilton's on the injury reserve. Fernell Miller's on the linebackers on the injury reserve. Dwayne Smoot is out. Chris Claiborne is out. Sammy Reeves is out. Kansas City Chiefs has got the two I told. Jody Forson, he's on the injury reserve. Isaiah Johnson's on the injury reserve. So I mean that's about all the injury report there going through the NFL there on this. But I mean it's really you got to look at it here. I mean this has got to be a situation that Jacksonville has got to look here at how do we get the running game going. That's got to be a very uptight here. The running game's got to be very effective. We have to run the ball. We got to keep Mahomes on the sideline. So that means we got to be time of possession is going to be a key for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can we maintain their time of possession of this game? And the only way you can do that is you got to run the ball effectively, be hit of the chains, don't get in long situations, convert first downs when we have the chance to convert first downs. We get into red zones, we got to score. We got to score touchdowns. Field goals will not beat Kansas City. We get in that red zone, we have to come away with 7. 7 points every time we get in that red zone. It could be hard to say we do, but we got to get in that red zone. We got to put pressure on Kansas City at all times. We cannot let Mahomes pick us apart. We cannot have him picking us down the field. We cannot have their running backs going off on us. Their running backs the first weekend the running backs didn't do hardly nothing for Kansas City. We have to keep Pachenko and Hilaire. Honestly, we have to keep them where we need to keep them at on that sideline. We need to keep the offense on the sideline. The best defense of keeping Patrick Mahomes down is keeping him on that sideline. That means run the football, take time off the clock, take the possession clocks down, run the football. The key is to keep the drives going. If we get into 3rd and 5, you got to mix it up. You got to mix it up on first downs. You can't keep running the ball straight on first downs. We have to mix up plays on first downs. If we can get our running game on tap, that's going to cause a lot of headaches for Kansas City because they have to now watch out for the play action pass. And when you get the play action pass, Calvin Ridley could come wide open because he's a great route runner. He's got speed. Christian Kirk is also a speedster, but he has to come alive. And Damon said it earlier. He needs to step the H up because right now, ever since he got the bag, he has been doing a lot. Now, Christian Kirk last year did a lot. So this is this year. There's only one week 1. They didn't know how Ridley was going to play in that game, but they had to find a way to get Christian Kirk in there. It's just throw wide receiver screen, sit him down, and put a little bit of motion there. So that's got to be a little bit of a situation there on that a little bit of Sorry, I got somebody popping up on thing. All right, so we got that taken care of there on that. But I mean, that's got to be a situation that we really got to look at, and how this is going to be really capable of the situation on this target. Now, we look at our game plan. Simple: run the football, be ahead of the change. Number one, we got to be disciplined on our offense. No turnovers, no penalties. Same thing with defense. We can't have these late personal fouls. We can't have, kind of some game changing penalties that we had last time against Kansas City that cost something in the game. We got to be very productive on our offensive possessions and score touchdowns and get ahead. If we can get ahead in this ball game and keep the pressure on Mahomes, we could coerce Mahomes and probably making some turnovers. But the only way you got to do that is you got to keep him in the pocket, make him be a pocket passer, not have him go out running around like he's playing Charlie Brown football out there. You know, that's what he is very good at. He's very good at improvising plays and keeping it back there long enough to where a wide receiver will get away from his coverage on a break and busted play and turns it into a big gain. And then we're going to be putting ourselves in more deep pressure areas that we got to really look at here in this ball game. So if we can keep Mahomes in that pocket, throw some pressure up on him, and the way you can pressure him is you got to force your ends up the field a little bit, not too far, because then you got to help your tackles are breaking free. So when Mahomes has to step in that pocket, he's getting smacked by the defensive tackle. So that's got to be one area that you got to really look at. If your defensive ends come out of their containment, out of their rush edge, flat-footed, Mahomes can beat you on the outside or running around you, and then he's off to the races because you're probably playing man-to-man in the backfield. So your corners are not really looking at the quarterback unless you're playing that zone where they can step up. So that's another key issue there. Are we going to play some man? We're going to have to play some. We have to mix up a coverage up. I mean, our coverage last week was kind of iffy because we were lining up 10 to 15 yards. We were lining up 5 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage and getting them a free run. And half the time when you give these guys a free run, you're getting beat already. You have to get up there. We have to find a way to get up there and jam them in that 5 yard jam range. We have to jam the receivers to get them off the timing. If we can get them off the timing, hopefully Mahomes will be still back there really looking at the situation that we got to really look at here with Patrick Mahomes is if he can interrupt his timing with the receivers and putting pressure on him, he will throw picks. Now that's hard to say because he's so good back there. He's so good at manipulating that pocket, manipulating his receiver, putting him in position when he breaks containment, when he got that passing, because he doesn't look to run. He looks to kill you with that pass on that broken play going rolling out. Now, if he has to run, he'll run. But what he really is doing, when he rolls out or he breaks that containment, he is looking for people downfield, breaking free from the coverage, and turns that busted play into a 15 to 20 yards down the field. So that's got to be our defensive focal point here is keeping the pressure on Mahomes, but not getting out of our lanes where he can improvise to play that backyard football that he likes to play when he gets out to improvise. And when he turns that play into 15 to 20 yards down the field, that sets their offense up in high octane mode. Travis Kelce is going to be here. No doubt about it. You got to play like he's going to be in the game, that he's going to be full force. You don't want to take a sleep. And I'm going to tell you, and some of the past I've seen the Jacksonville Jaguars do this. If we get a lead on this team, we got to keep flooring it. We cannot hold off and try to win by running the football, taking time off the clock. If we get in a position that we are up, say we up 2 scores, or we get up 3 scores, I doubt if we do that. And Greg, I agree with you on that. Mahomes will throw picks if he's passing, trying to make a big play. Now, to do that, to get him more flustered, is he's throwing the football and getting hit at the same time. Over time of the game, if he gets hit over time of the game and time of the game, that could take a toll mentally on a quarterback, even though you're that good. But we have to keep that situation for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Really think about that situation that we got to really contend here with is we have to play our football. We don't want Kansas City coming here and dictate where we're playing. We don't want Kansas City to dictate that we're going to be one-dimensional if they stop our running game. We got to take the toll and make them play our game. That means our defense has to push their offensive line into their backfield, reset the line of scrimmage into the backfield. Our offense has to take their defense and reestablish the line of scrimmage towards their defense and move the ball down the field. If we're getting 3 to 4 yards every play on, it keeps us ahead of the chain. That keeps our offense where we can either run the football or pass the football for a first down. That is the head we need to be. We cannot be behind the chains against this pass rush defense. Chris Jones is back like we've been talking about here. He's going to be the key of the player on the defensive side that I'm going to be watching. We want to see how mobile that we're going to see how really shape he is. Can he play in this heat? Even though they say it's going to be 82 degrees, but the humidity could feel like it's 91. Let me see if I can take a look at the weather here on this thing here, because it usually the weather channel here on my app, they will give us the actual breakdown of the humidity and what it's going to be like tomorrow. Tomorrow about 1 o'clock, they say it's going to be scattered thunderstorms, 55% chance of rain, 86 degrees. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So we could be in some rain delays. We could be in a thunderstorm. So we might have some delays in this game too. Because it's 55% chance of rain at 1 o'clock. It's 65% chance of rain at 2 o'clock with thunderstorms. At 3 o'clock, it's 75% chance of rain. At 4 o'clock, it's 70% chance of rain and thunderstorm. At 5 o'clock, 6% chance of rain and thunderstorms. We have isolated thunderstorms all day tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes and see if we can get this game in. It could be a wet condition. That means a lot of turnovers. Mishandling the football, rain coming down. Field here usually drains pretty good. So slipping and sliding. If you come into the game here in Jacksonville, you might want to bring your ponchos. Have them stand by because you're going to get wet. As long as it don't thunder, we can play in the rain. But as that thunder and lightning comes, they'll spend the game, tell everybody to get out of the stadium, and then we'll be in a delay. I don't know how long until they can get the field back and running. So, yeah, rain is an advantage for both defense because sometimes the ball gets slick and wet, and it'll slide right through your hands. So that's got to be a little bit of a situation there on that end. So that's got to be that's got to be a little bit of a thing that we got to really see here that really causes effect here on this. So that's got to be what we really got to take care of here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But who knows? We knows how the rain plays out here in Jacksonville, out in Florida, especially in Florida. Weather here is unpredictable sometimes, especially in this time of year with the hurricane season still in full effect, all the way up to November time frame. The weather situation, rain, winds, heat. So if it rains and it don't rain no more, the humidity and that heat and that rain, it makes it muggy out here. But like I said, like Greg, I pointed to Greg Hill, what he just said right here. Rain has advantage for both defense because situation will dictate. Because sometimes when your receivers got a cut, they slip and fall, and then your defenses at corners are right there to pick the ball off. Same thing with the linebackers. The defense can cause turnovers with the wet ball, slick ball. So that's got to be an element too in this ball game. The weather's going to play a big dictate in this ball game if it stays raining and all that. So that's got to be the situation for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs got to worry about here in the development. So we really got to see how good this game is going to really be able to play when I say when if we don't have any thunderstorms and the rain condition continues, like I said, all throughout the whole day tomorrow. So, with that said, I picked it earlier. I'm going to stay with my score. Jacksonville 34, Kansas City 31. Jacksonville goes out with the win. I'm not going to waver on that because in my heart, I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars will come and play because the motivation factor for last year can motivate them this year to prove to the point and prove to the national media that Jacksonville is here to play football and is here to stay with Doug Peterson at helm. So, guys, it's been great. It's been a good time. And all that here. And so, until we meet again on Sunday, hopefully it'll be a winning Sunday, or here in Jacksonville, a winning Monday also. But since I come on Sunday at 9:30 to 11 o'clock for the reaction, stay with us here on the All Sports All Plays Network. Be with the boys in the morning at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Touchdown Crew will get you ready for football, get you ready for the Jaguars in Kansas City, get you ready for all the football games here on the All Sports All Plays Network. And then in the evening we have wrestling, a wrestling show. I guess it's Maverick or Wrestling with Maverick. Mike Keaton and his group does a very good thing. And then stay with us on Monday with Chris and the Afternoon Blitz will come on and talk about all the football action on this past weekend also. And stay tuned for Easy Money, the betting show here on the All Sports All Plays Network. And then we have Her in the Huddle joining, and they'll talk about the Cleveland aspect of the football season. Also, that's a Cleveland radio station that's on the All Sports All Plays Network. And then you got Real Talk continuing on Monday. So we got full coverage here starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Touchdown Crew, Charles, the Coach Bennett, and the other coach on the show get you all ready for NFL action. So it's time to say goodnight. Peace out. Y'all have a blessed day. Go Jags. Duval.